welcome to Grief and Potluck Podcast. That was a fun little ditty by a gentleman named Tony Venturini. You can find some of his madcap work over at bandcamp.com. We're talking about funerals. Oh, morbid. Hardly, because this is something that is going to happen. Remember the two things I said we all had in common? We're born and then we die. Yeah, so why not own it? Plan for it, plot for it, prep for it. You know, it is 2021. Why aren't we prepping for things? Yeah, here we go. Funeral services are not considered the world's oldest profession, but it is among the top 5. Since the dawn of civilization, every culture, religion has been faced with disposing of human remains. And then we have to cope with that emotional impact on us. Funeral rites, ceremonies, and beliefs surrounding the subject of death are strong, depending on your basic culture and beliefs. So, there is a book I'm going to highly recommend. We're going to go over some highlights. It is called... That was my attempt at a drum roll. Sorry if it sounded like none of the above. Simply Essential Funeral Planning Kit by Don Cochrane. That's Cochran. The funeral process can be broken down into 3 steps. The immediate disposition of the body, conducting of services or ceremonies of remembrance, the final disposition by either cremation or burial. Okay, pretty basic. There's a lot of other stuff that goes into it, but that's the basics. His book has 3 goals. 1, to help you understand that a funeral is a purchase. In fact, it is a number of purchases in 2 distinct areas. Services that include consultation concerning legal requirements, certificates, registrations, and any other necessary documents. Transportation of the body. And that all depends on your final arrangements. Part 2 of Part 1. Goods that include the purchase of items such as casket, cemetery plot, cremation urn, or burial vault. All right, so number 1 is broken down into services and goods. Number 2. Goal of this book is to provide full, unbiased, and up-to-date information on all options available in areas of goods and services. As you know, here at Grief and Potluck Podcast, our goal is to learn. So this is right up our alley. Number 3, goal of this book. To help and encourage you to establish a written plan designed to deal with all aspects of your funeral arrangements, including costs, so that you may include that plan with your legal will and share it with your executor or loved ones. Bum, bum, bum. So, amongst the learning process, I'm going to make it a goal, hopefully before the end of February. Nay. Say it like this. Before the end of February, my goal is to talk to at least 2 funeral directors. If you hadn't heard me say it before, I'll say it here. One of the things that got me into this situation, understanding what all things funerary is, are, was, were, is to be, was thinking in my noggin that I didn't want a funerary director making decisions for moi or for moi and my family. So I'm like, what's a girl to do? So I started learning, and here we are. Many months in. When did we start this adventure? An adventure by Ginger is called an adventure. Yes, that's what it is. It's an adventure. That's a fascinating made-up word. I'm pretty good at those. All right, so the first 2 chapters discuss the reasons to plan your funeral. Joy. Am I bored already? No. A funeral can be stark or lavish. Blah, 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 blah. Duties and expectations to be placed on your legally appointed executor or friend or family or foe. Oh. Yes. So you do have to make plans. I know many people don't make plans. Chapter 8 is commonly asked questions. That'll be exciting. So, first, let's start with the obvious. We don't like it. No, we don't. So we have to overcome our fear of dealing with death, which apparently he also wants to help you out in chapter 2 with. So, in dealing with death, this is page 3, just in case you're curious and just in case you might be following along and or find said book and or want to follow along. I can't cover everything in one podcast, but we'll try in a couple. And if you're bored, I'm sorry, leave a comment down below. How can Ginger spice it up for you? Oh, I know. Wait, look. Hold on, here it is. Oh, I can add a basket of kittens. If you're not laughing with me, you're crying for me. Thanks. Yep, I picked out some outfits. So, we're dealing with the emotional impact of your death. Bah, bah, bah. Whether it has been the result of a long illness or is sudden and unexpected. Well, at that point, what are you going to do? Isn't that adorable? I made that. Not hard, I promise. I know. I currently sold it, so I don't know. Oh, look at that. Someone paid the ultimate price in death for us. That's super. So, what are you experiencing? The emotional impact of grief. Yes, you are. That happens. Everyone experiences degrees of grief. We've discussed this in past episodes. Some may even have feelings of guilt and depression, and you may want to withdraw and rest. Okay, that's not to say you're going to have all feelings all at once. Guilt and depression may not exist, but you still may want to have rest and withdraw. However, we got to figure some things out. So, get ready. Here we go. Denial. It's a long river in Egypt. No, I will not stop. I will not. On a best-selling book called On Death and Dying by an Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, there are grief stages. The first stage of grief is denial, and we build defense systems against this. I'd say so. Our greatest fear is our own death or the death of those we love. Yeah. One of the defenses we come up with is denial. So we put it off, we don't deal with it, we don't think about it. No. So that's going to happen. But death is the ultimate and final reality. Acceptance of that reality is the key to moving on. Conquer it, get it figured out, and move on with your life. Ta-da! Procrastination? I'm going to do that later. Now, putting it off, like cuddling with your basket of kittens later, is just unavoidable. Death cannot be put off. Your loved ones will be forced to deal with it. Sucks. Avoidance is our third defense. This, however, creates many problems, such as different family members have different views on what you might want. Tid, because you're dead now, and you didn't deal with it. You avoided it. So now, your super close loved one, partner, spouse, what have you, has to deal with your siblings. And your siblings may have a different opinion than your partner or spouse. Go figure. So many married couples delay talking about and acting upon the eventuality of death. Refusing to discuss this robs the couple of the opportunity to learn the wishes and desires of the other partner. Yep, guilty. Prearranging your funeral is a gift to your family. I would say so. Sharing your plans with others. Here are a number of options. Alone, you can carry out the exercise in the books by yourself, or you may want to choose to discuss with others. Couples or partners, you can use the information gained to create identical or different plans for each. Group. The book can also be used by a discussion group to gather information, discuss various options, and various viewpoints. Death Cafe. We talked about that. Yep. This could be helpful in that regard. That's a cute hat, too. I made that one. Yep, so I'm trying to figure out, what does a woman want to wear to her funeral? Or not wear? Oh, cheeky me. So, reasons you need to plan your own funeral. First, it's you. Figure it out. It removes the risk of members of your family having different views on this event. Can you imagine? Coupled with your legal will and your wishes, which will have to be respected by law. It ensures the emotional impact of your death will not cloud the financial considerations. Because some people will take advantage. It leaves a clear message concerning the manner, degree, and type of commemorative service that you desire. Are you a low key or are you a high key? Hoity-toity or naughty-toity? I mean, I went to one funeral one time. Take that back. It was a viewing. I went to a viewing, possibly it was a funeral, but all of a sudden, I find myself in a parking lot when I pulled up and parked of bikers. And bikers were drinking beer in said parking lot. And okay, that's the way that he wanted to have his funeral service, but that surprised me because that was the first time I'd ever seen that. It was a different experience. I can't say that I'm going to have bikers at my funeral, but I'm not against a Harley every now and then. I like to ride. No one is in a better position than you are while you are alive to gather the information, documents, and background materials that will be needed when you die. Yeah. Unfortunately, fortunately, there's stuff you need. So, stuff you need. The first question that anyone wishing to explain a process, sell a product, or inform you on any subject asks is what is your level of knowledge on the subject? A real estate lawyer could be one. A doctor may be another. And a decorator could ask you, what do you want on that cake? I have a really good spot on Pinterest called Celebrating Cake. I'm just saying, I'm all about a little cake. I think it'd be a great idea to have cake at a funeral. Now, there's no such thing as tradition. Oh, I said that out loud, didn't I? Oh, shut my mouth. There is tradition, but there's no such thing as tradition when it comes to what you want to do for your funeral. To be clear. All right. So let's answer the following questions. Are you ready? Here we go. Either you're going to answer yes, no, or unsure. Question. If you died today, would your next of kin or executor know whom to contact to deal with your remains and the funeral arrangements? Yes, no, unsure. Would they have the basic information to complete the forms for the registration of death, vital statistics, obituaries, and all other information needed to plan your funeral? Statistics, obituaries, arrangements. Would they have that basic information? Do you have the following list of documents available so that the executor or your next of kin will be able to find them and use them? Current legal will, birth, marriage, divorce certificates, reliable information on significant dates, Social Security number, veterans papers. Have you chosen between burial and cremation? So burial, cremation, or undecided. Do you know what type of funeral service you would prefer? No service, religious, family only, celebration of life, unsure. Boop, boop. Celebration of life. That's why we're here. Celebrationoflifemagazine.com. Do you wish to be embalmed and viewed after death? No, yes, family viewing, public viewing. So, I'm going to push pause on that question and answer you with this knowledge. I've learned embalming is used with lots of toxic ingredients that could find their way into the ground, and or just so you know, it's also a cancer causing thing. So if you happen to have died of cancer, it's an ironic twist. Just saying. Do you have any knowledge of the cost ranges in your locality for the following goods or services? Funeral service fee, casket or burial cremation container, cemetery costs, because there's the plot, there's the opening, there's the closing charges, there's the concrete or other vault. Cremation charges. Urn, marker, again, opening, closing. Yeah, they pay to dig a hole and then close it up. Other costs, taxes, death certificates, clergy fees, flowers, and obituaries. What costs do you have in mind for your full funeral? If you wish to be buried, do you know where? Do you own a plot and have the ownership papers? Girl, let me tell you, that can get hooky because places get sold to other places. Yeah. So if you've got papers, you might want to get on that. If you wish to be cremated, do you know what you want done with your ashes? Scattered. Buried. Where? And if scattered, by whom? All right. That's a lot. I'm going to back up to... Where was I? I wanted to ask that question. Oh, yes. Taxes. What? There's such a thing as a death tax. I don't know why. I don't know why. Is it on my paper to cover in the near future? Taxes. Huh. I'm going to have to write that down. I don't see it. There's a marker. All right. So death taxes happen. Why is it markers look terrible after so many uses? All right. Death tax. Yep. That's something we got to explore. Elder law. Something else we got to explore. I know. You're tired of looking at the cute kittens. Cute kittens! But seriously. Seriously, those are some basic questions. Very basic. But nonetheless, helpful. So I'm going to confess, I got the stuff together, but I don't know if I want to be cremated or buried or natural burial, which we covered recently. Also, that's still going to be up on the website. So if you look under the blog section, there is a YouTube video for that. Natural burial. We talked to a local place in Florida. I mean, ashes. We're going to talk about getting buried at sea in March as a topic. So that's some place that a lot of people like to have their ashes scattered. I mean, and if you're a veteran and veterans papers exist, or if your said loved one is a veteran, or you're the veteran, etc., vice versa, repeat, skip, you're going to need those papers. And I know obituaries can be quite lengthy. My last grandmother passed away, and family member wrote her obituary, and it took her a while. And she even discussed it with her ahead of time because she didn't want certain X's in the list of the lineup. Who can blame her? But legitimately, your obituary could be 5 lines or more. I mean, you're survived by, or you were here and you're not here anymore. Done. I know vaults happen because, well, go figure. They're going to put your body in the ground and they don't want to do it. Au natural. They want to do it with concrete. So there's that concrete box, and then there's your casket box, and then you go in the casket in the ground, in the concrete. Yep. So you got to pay for that. Oh, my bad. 2 more questions on the backside. Did you know you could prepay your funeral plan, locking in the costs? I did know that because I almost got employed at one of those places selling you a pre-plan. But let me tell you, you got to walk through it. Don't sign any paperwork. Don't put down $1, as they used to say when I would want to take dance lessons. Yeah, I wanted to learn to waltz. I know. I'm strange. But whatever. People used to do that. Normal. Nonetheless. And it's good exercise. But don't sign a contract. Don't put down $1 because then you owe and you're stuck. So go to one place, talk, learn, get paperwork, take it home, walk out the door. Go to another place, same deal. Get the paperwork, talk, walk out the door. Last but not least, I promise, have you ever discussed any of these topics with anyone in your family? If you answered no or unsure to most of these questions, well, guess what? This book is for you. Hurrah! If you answered yes to most of these questions, this book will help you get organized. Either way, it's a win-win. I'm happy to say I thought so, and that's why I had purchased it. Because I have family members who weren't prepared, who didn't have stuff written down, thought they did. No. No. You might have a will, and where there's a will, there's a way. But just a will does not constitute knowing what you want in the end. Because usually the will is read after you're in the ground. So, let's plan. All right? So, we now know we need some things. So, we got to get ourselves in order. No more denial. No more fear. Because that is the goal. That is the goal. That is exactly what it says on the website, www.celebrationsoflifemagazine.com. Make the end of life a celebration. Celebrate good time. Come on. No, I'm not a singer. But I would be if the steam from the shower was hitting my voice just right and the acoustics are perfect in the bathroom. So, Celebrate good times. Come on. If I go deeper, I don't know. Hold on. Okay, I'll stop. I'm just gonna stop. Moving on. I can't sing right now. Clearly, my voice isn't there. All right. So back up to the point of all this. Make the end of life a celebration. We're here to create safe conversations around death and dying. So we're going to learn about all things funerary, but not limited to culture, history, fashion, flowers, all types of funerals, food, art, and more. Everything in life is touched by death. It's touched by birth and it's touched by death. And I'm sorry. Cute little babies are only so cute to me. And then a box of kittens is what I'd rather be near. That's just my personal preference. That's okay. So I'm going to hug my box of kittens, pick out my outfits, and we're going to cuddle through this together. Not coddle. I'm not going to coddle you. I'm going to cuddle you because cuddling kittens is a lot more fun. And we're going to figure this out together. And so now, you know, couple steps. Got to start thinking about grouping and getting your stuff together. No more denial. We're not on that long river. No. No more procrastinating. No. No more avoiding. We're going to cuddle our box of kittens. I love a good kitten cuddle. And now we know. We got to name somebody. Who do we want taking care of our stuff? What? Do we have our paperwork around, near, far? Paperwork. Gotta make a few decisions here, people. Fancy hat, not a fancy hat. Are we gonna burn it up? Am I gonna get buried in the ground? What other fees are involved? Things to think about. So, while we think, while we plan, while we figure it out, I think the easiest thing's going to be figuring out what you're going to wear. That's just my personal thought. More than likely. The easiest thing's going to be figuring out what we're going to wear. So, start somewhere. That's a good start, personally, I think. Can't hurt. The ultimate price in death. Yes. So, you're allowed to pray about it. You're allowed to think about it. You might have to ask a couple people to help you deal with it. But together, we're going to go through this. Help us figure it out. Get some funeral planning done. And carry on. Carry on and carry forward, I say. I don't know what carry forward means. I just said it. So, we're going to have an adventure together while we do this. Despite whatever the year may bring, things still happen, and this is one of those things. Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Grief and Potluck podcast. We will be continuing to cover some more topics. Again, if you think, dear Lord, I don't want to listen to your voice, I'd rather just do it on my own. Again, the book is called Simply Essential Funeral Planning Kit by Don S. Cochrane, Cochrane. The goal, plan a funeral, understand when to say no to unnecessary expenses, and get that information for your family or your loved ones or your people who are going to be dealing with this when you are no longer here. Get your stuff in order. Get your kittens lined up all cute in a basket. Could make that a saying. Get your kittens together. I love it. Fun stuff. Thank you so much. Again, this is Grief and Potluck Podcast. We've got some great stuff on the website, www.celebrationsoflifemagazine.com. If you'd like to support us or get an advertisement going, there's ways to do it. It's on the website. It is on the About page. Super duper. So join us. And it's on the Join Us page. Also, we're going to be doing another book club. We had a great time doing that this past week. The next book club will be May 18th. March 16th. March 16th, but I apologize. I don't have a book yet, but we'll get there. No big deal. You'll find it on the website under Book Club 2021. I have till the 1st of February to figure it out because I do. So there we go. If you have any recommendations, you can leave a comment below. This podcast will air on the 27th of January 2021. So therefore, I'll have time to read your comments if you've listened to it. Otherwise, if you've missed it, there are other book clubs coming up. May, July, September, and November to be exact. So, it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. Put your kittens in a row and we'll get it together. Thanks again for listening to Grief and Potluck Podcast. Hope you had a great time. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Take us out, Tony.